apostles of Christ. Now, let's stay in the same chapter because we got points 1. The first point was you have to know Christ in order to be an apostle. Number 2, you have to be chosen by Christ to be an apostle. And we just been reading that Paul was chosen by Christ to be an apostle. Now, the third point is an apostle must work miracles, the miracles of God. So let's see if Paul fits that criteria. Let's stay in the same book and let's jump over to verse 8. Acts 14 and 8, priest.
The book of Acts, chapter 14 and verse 8. And there sat a certain man at Lystra,
yep.
Lystra, impotent in his feet,
Read.
being a cripple from his mother's womb.
So this man was a cripple at birth. He was crippled in his feet at birth. Read.
Who never had walked.
And he was never able to walk because he was a cripple at birth. Keep reading.
The same heard Paul speak.
This man right here who was crippled at birth, he heard the words of Paul. He heard Paul speaking. Read.
Who steadfastly beholding him.
So Paul turned around and he kept watching him, looking at him. Read.
And perceiving that he had faith to be healed.
And Paul said, this man right here, he got faith to be healed. Let's see what Paul does. Read.
Said with a loud voice.
Paul said with a loud voice, what?
Stand upright on thy feet.
Stand upright on your feet. Read.
And he leaped and walked.
And that man leaped and walked. That right there is a miracle. A miracle. Give me Acts chapter 19. Paul had power to heal the physically disabled among us, yo. He also had power to heal the sick and power to heal all manner of diseases, illnesses, and infirmities. Give me Acts 19 and 11.
The book of Acts, chapter 19, starting at verse 11.
Read.
And God wrought special miracles by the hands of Paul.
God worked special miracles by the hand of Paul the apostle, by the hand of our beloved brother Paul. God worked special miracles by that man's hand. Read it again. I love it.
And God wrought special miracles by the hands of Paul.
Read.
So that from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons.
So people used to take handkerchiefs and aprons from Paul and give those things to the sick among us. Keep reading.
And the disease departed from them.
And the disease departed. When they received those handkerchiefs and those aprons from Paul, their diseases departed from them. Keep reading.
And the evil spirit went out of them.
And the evil spirit went out of them, yo. Paul had power to heal sicknesses, illness, diseases. Had power to heal the cripple. Had power over unclean spirits. Power over evil spirits. That's why I just said, and the evil spirits went out from them. Matter of fact, give me that other one. Acts 16. Acts 16 about that evil spirit. Acts 16, start at 16.
The book of Acts, chapter 16 and verse 16.
Read.
And it came to pass, as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination.
A spirit of divination is an unclean spirit. A spirit of divination is an evil spirit, Joe. Keep reading.
Met us, which brought her masters much gain by smoothsaying.
Keep reading.
The same followed Paul and us, and cried, saying, These men are the servants of the Most High God.
Read.
Which show unto us the way of salvation.
Read.
And this did she many days.
She followed after them for many days, whining and crying. I mean, she was saying the truth, but she was whining. I guess they didn't want to hear it. And plus, they knew that was an unclean spirit. But keep reading.
But Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the spirit.
Paul, being grieved with this woman, he turned and said to this unclean spirit, read.
I command thee in the name of Jesus Christ to come out of her. And he came out he came out the same hour.
And that unclean spirit came out the same hour. Paul had power over unclean spirits.
That's your exorcist right there. And then what they call that? Exorcist? When they take the spirit out of people, when they try to make it in movies.
Yeah, and they need all the crucifixes and unholy water and all that.
All Paul needed was an apron and a handkerchief. So basically a snot rag.
Hey, or just the word. Because right here, he just said the word right there. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. Anyway, give me Acts chapter 20. Give me Acts chapter 20. So Paul had power to cast out unclean spirits. We're going to get one more miracle of the Apostle Paul. Acts chapter 20, let's start at 7.
The book of Acts chapter 20, starting at verse 7.
Read.
And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread,
Uh-huh.
Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow.
So Paul was preaching. He was preaching and he was getting ready to leave the next day. Keep reading.
And continue his speech until midnight.
Hey, he was talking for a long time. They started talking in the day. He kept talking all the way until midnight. Keep reading.
And there were many lights in the upper chamber.
And they had many lights in the upper chambers, yo. It was dark outside. Everybody had their lights on. Everybody sitting there listening to Paul as he just talking, speaking the gospel of God. Read.
Where they were gathered together.
Uh-huh.
And there sat in a window a certain young man named
Eutychus.
Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep.
So you had a young man named Eutychus there. And this man, he fell into a deep sleep as Paul was talking. Keep reading.
And as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep.
So as Paul was long preaching, still preaching after midnight, Eutychus fell down into a strong sleep. Read.
And fell down from the third loft.
And what?
And fell down from the third
And
loft.
he fell off the balcony, yo, while he was asleep. From the third story. This man fell off the balcony from the third story while he was asleep. Keep reading.
And was taken up dead.
And when they got down there, they picked him up and they said, this man is dead, yo. Eutychus is dead and gone. Read.
And Paul went down and fell on him.
So Paul went down and he fell on the body of Eutychus. Read.
Embracing him.
And said what?
Embracing him said, trouble not yourself.
Don't be worried. Read.
For his life is in him.
For his life is in him. Read.
When he therefore was come up again.
So Paul went back up. After Paul said that, he went right back up. Read.
And had broken bread.
And broke bread again. Read.
Eaten.
And he was eating again. Read.
And taught a long while.
And started talking again. Read.
Even till break of day.
Until the break of day, he kept talking. Read.
So he departed.
As he planned to. Keep reading.
And they brought the young man alive.
And they brought the young man Eutychus up alive. Read.
And were not a little comfort.
And they were all happy, yo. Paul had power to raise the dead. Paul had power to literally raise the dead. He saved that man. Well, not saved that man. He raised that man from the dead. That man fell off the third story balcony and died. Paul came down there and saved that man, or brought that man back to life. Excuse me. Hey, we about to close out. Give me 1 Corinthians 9. Give me the book of 1 Corinthians.